right. We back. We back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Am I gonna get in trouble for that too? Singing? I could sing, right? Yeah. Shout out Mace. But yeah, we back, baby. His and Hers MMA podcast 2.0. I'm excited to be doing this again. I mean, doing what I love, talking MMA, studying MMA, just, covering MMA, just, everything MMA. I mean, combat sports too. We'll be doing boxing. We'll be doing maybe a little grappling. That gets exciting from time to time. A little jitsu. But yeah, I mean, it feels good to be back, even though, I almost didn't do it today. Almost. I told my producer, shout out K-Dog over here. I mean, a little behind the scenes action, but yeah, no, I almost bitched out today. I almost did some bitch shit and was like canceled because your boy got fucked up last night at a party and woke up feeling like shit. And I almost did some bitch shit, and I was going to say, you know what, I'll just start next week, UFC 281. It'll be okay if I cover after. No, fuck that. We starting this week because it needs to happen. I'm holding true to what the fuck I said I was going to do. And here I am. We back. But, yeah, I think I'm going to leave the name His and Hers MMA podcast because, I mean, this is a sport that does not discriminate. It's for his and hers or they or whatever, but, you got to keep it short in the title. So, yeah, it's for everybody. It's for all cultures, all races, all everybody. And yeah, so we keeping it the same. Yeah, so, I mean, we'll be talking some betting. I'm going to get into some bets, some odds, the UFC 281 MSG this week, by the way. New York City is a big one. I mean, we got Israel Adesanya taking on Alex Pereira. Shit. I mean, the ones that know how that went down. I mean, they have. I mean, we're gonna get into that a little bit later. But I mean, shit. A UFC MSG never disappoints. Riddled with some good fights. Can't wait to talk about that later. Also gonna talk about this past weekend's card with Fight Night, Marina Rodriguez versus Amanda Lemos, which was an interesting card as well. Came home last night. I mean, like I said, I had this party and a little fall bash thing at a friend's house, outside, campfire, all the things, tequila, Modelo's, other stuff. It's just, it was a shit show, but it was a good shit show and it was a good time. And I'm working through it. But that aside, though, I came home last night after that. Not too late. I mean, it started early. So got home. I don't even remember what time it was. I'm going to say like 10-ish. And 10, 11. And yeah, immediately with a strong buzz, turned on the fights. And I was like, I gotta start taking this in one way or another. And I never like to miss the fights in live action. But, I figured this card, it was an early card. Prelims were at 4 East Coast. Main card was at 7, and I just figured it was a good card that if I had to miss it, I could come home and still watch that night. Woke up this morning, got myself a coffee, and sat on the couch, took some notes, and watched it over again. And yeah, there was some interesting stuff in the card, and we may as well start there. We'll start with last night's card. Before we get into UFC 281 this weekend, like I said, MSG New York City. I'm gonna try to go to it personally. I would love to be in attendance. I've went to 2 in the past. I believe 2 MSGs. And they never disappoint. The Garden's always rocking. I mean, shit. I mean, your ears almost pop. When some of these fights that they always make for this card, I mean, it's ridiculous. But I mean, shit. But yeah, before we get there, let's start with this past weekend's card. We'll start at the main event with Marina Rodriguez took on Amanda Lemos, and yeah. So I gotta say, I was a little disappointed. Not in the fight, even though it was a slow feel out process in the beginning. But that's what annoyed me. It wasn't about the lack of action, as some people complain about. But no, that's not what it is for me. My complaint is when it's a lack of action due to maybe confidence, maybe due to I just really felt that granted they're 2 highly talented girls, and you can't really make a mistake against each other because they will make you pay for that, and I get that. But I just thought Marina Rodriguez coming into this fight, she's been looking so good and like in the lead up, and is such a talented striker on her feet, and can hold her own in the grappling division in the grappling department for sure. But I just felt that Marina Rodriguez was a little flat in this one. I feel like she could have let it go a little. I would have liked to have seen her let it go a little bit more than she did. I saw her leading into this. It's fair to say I had Marina Rodriguez as my pick. And I know Amanda I've been high on Amanda Lemos in the lead up to this as well. I mean, she's a savage in her own right, but I just thought Marina Rodriguez was a little bit more experienced. She's been in there with some great fighters in the past. And yeah, she's just, I actually had her, I would have liked to have seen her fight for a title or against Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Joanna's return fight, but that didn't happen. So I was campaigning for her to have a title fight, even if it was going to be against Carla. That would have been a rematch, or Rose Namajunas. This is before they fought, and I mean, imagine Marina and Rose in a stand-up battle. That would have been crazy. But yeah, I mean, this kind of shows though that Marina, I just feel like she second guessed herself a little too much in this fight against Amanda, and then come in the later rounds, Amanda Lemos finally gained enough confidence throughout the fight to finally, I felt like she was, she turned it on in the later rounds and saw that she was going to be able to get her out of there, and she did. She let it go on the feet, got it down to the ground, and ultimately submitted her. Yeah, I mean, shit. So now I guess Amanda Lemos will be next up as the title contender. I'm assuming. That's what I'm pretty sure was the narrative going into this, was the winner was going to fight for the next for the belt. Which, I mean, speaking of, well, yeah, against Valentina Shevchenko. Sorry, I was thinking next this upcoming week, Wei Li is fighting Esparza, but that's a different division. But yeah, so I mean, Amanda Lemos, another savage Brazilian coming to test the battle-tested champ in Valentina Shevchenko, and man, I mean, once again, that's going to be a great one. Valentina coming off a very hard-fought win against Tyler Santos, and here just comes another savage Brazilian that is, just well-rounded, can stand, can grapple, and I think Valentina has another hard test on her hands in front of her, and I cannot wait to see when that happens. Yeah, I think it'll be another very similar to the Tyler Santos fight where, there's going to be Valentina's going to definitely be she's going to be tested, and we're going to see how that goes. So that'll be interesting. And then in the co-main event, we had Neil Magny taking on Daniel Rodriguez, D-Rod. And again, another fight where it started out a little feeling out process in the feet. Now this one I had Daniel Rodriguez to win, and that's just because I think he's been the more active fighter. He also fought more recently as well, but he took on Li Jilang, the Leech, and in their last fight, and Daniel Rodriguez got what was a to the majority, I guess, a questionable decision win over Li Jilang. From what I remember from that fight, I had Li Jilang winning, and D-Rod got the decision. But was I that upset about it? Not really. I mean, D-Rod still did what he had to do, and it was close enough to where you really couldn't complain too much about it. And all the way before that, he has just looked so good. I mean, he's a powerful guy. I mean, could put you out on your feet very easily at any given notice. But he's taking on Neil Magny, who's a grapple heavy guy, and Neil Magny, I guess in hindsight now, it was a little bit of a feeling out process, but Neil Magny, towards the end of the fight, took advantage of an opportunity. Both men looked a little tired going into the third and last round. But ultimately, Neil Magny does what Neil Magny does, and it did, and does and did, which is he got him to the ground and ultimately submitted him with a beautiful Darce choke. Neil Magny, just so impressive. I mean, to be able to do that to someone like Daniel Rodriguez, regardless of being tired or not, Neil was tired as well. And just such a veteran, experienced move to just implement what you do best, get the guy to the ground. I'm sure that was the game plan all along. And ultimately submitted him with a beautiful Darce choke. And man, is there anything cooler than a fucking Darce choke? I mean, it just looks like the tightest, most just locked in choke there is as far as a neck choke. I'd say it's just so fucking awesome. And he did it beautifully, and he executed it, and he got the win, and it was a fucking beautiful display in the third round. Yeah, so shout out Neil Magny for that. I mean, back in the win column, back. Yeah, let's see. What else did we have in this one? We had Derek Minner took on Shylon. Now, I heard this name a million times. I listened to it a few more million times this morning to try to get it right. Nerda. Now I don't remember, man. Jesus Christ. Shylon Nerda Becke. It's not A. I know there's no A at the end. I think it's Becca. Weirdly, it's pronounced Nerda Nerdon Becca, even though it's an E at the end. But, I mean, you can't make sense of this. I mean, it's the other side of the world, people. What you want me to do? Just a white American male in New York. What you want me to do about it? I don't know what to say. I mean, is that a questionable offense? I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, so this one was just weird. I mean, it was Derek Minner actually looked really good in the very beginning, but real quickly he threw a kick, awkward kick. They were saying it looked like he blew out his knee. I think he just landed awkwardly on his foot with throwing a kick to the body, and I think he just kind of like, I mean, what it looked like, probably like fractured his foot, but it looked like he stubbed his toe. But it was that awkward angle where could easily probably crack, like fractured the foot. And I think that's what happened. He stepped back awkwardly, went down, and ultimately Shylon just got on top of him and just ground and pounded him out for the TKO win. I mean, before that, Derek Minner was aggressive. He was, actually looked pretty good on the feet. Shylon's the favorite coming into this, and I think he just got away with a pretty easy win there due to a technical mistake on Derek Minner. Derek Minner, he'll be back. He's a solid fighter. Would have liked to seen that going a little longer to see how that would have went, but yeah, I mean, this is MMA and this is what happens. But earlier in this though, we had a big prospect in this one. This fight I enjoyed watching. Tagir Ulanbekov took on Nate Manis, and man, these flyweights, man, the flyweights these days, it's crazy how early UFC, the big guys were like, where was that? Like light heavyweight. This is like when I got into it with the whole, the Chuck Liddells, the GSPs, the Matt Hughes, the Vanderlei Silvas, Anderson Silvas. It was all about welterweight, middleweight, light heavyweight, and the heavyweights. We get the Brocks and the Canes and shout out Arlovsky, still doing it. Sadly caught a L the week before this, but hey, I mean, this guy's been around since pre-Dana White era and is still here fighting. I mean, God bless him. God bless Andrei Arlovsky. But yeah, all that aside, going back to the flyweights, the 125ers, I mean, when the flyweights came out, these guys were just, everybody was just a very small guy. I mean, like they seemed like 5'2", 5'3" fighters. Some of them stocky, Demetrius Johnson size. Everybody was around that size, but I mean, man, they are evolving. I mean, these dudes, they look like freaking featherweights in there. And it's just so technically good, man. I mean, Ulanbekov, from Dagestan, taking on Nate Manis, who is an American wrestler. So it was like the classic Dagestani Russian wrestling versus the American wrestler. And I did hear an interview leading up to this with Ulanbekov saying basically that Dagestani wrestling is number one, and he sounded very confident that he was going to go in there and implement what he was going to do, just impose his will on Nate Manis, and that's exactly what he did. I mean, from start to finish, just pressured him, got him down with a beautiful trip, and ultimately was able to find the neck very, very quickly. I mean, first round fight, and got a standing guillotine choke for the win. And I mean, it was just like start to finish, pressure, 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 give me your neck, go to bed or tap. And I mean, when he made it look so easy against a man who is a known grappler and a known great wrestler, and he just made it look so easy. So that's always impressive when you can make it look easy against someone that's you know at that high level. So shout out to Geir Ulanbekov, because that dude's going to be a problem. Flyweights have a new dark horse. I don't know, maybe too early to call him a dark horse, but definitely a prospect in the making. This guy, you're going to see him in the top 15 real soon. Yeah, and he's a problem. I mean, it would be nice to see him tested on the feet a little bit more. He's going to run into some problems up ahead. I mean, I don't know about problems. I just mean he's going to run into some harder fights. The flyweights, the bantams, all those divisions are so stacked these days. I mean, it's just crazy. And the flyweights it's so fun to watch. Just how just technically sound they are, and just how fast it all happens. It's just such a high level of mixed martial arts, and it's just beautiful to watch. Honestly, it's just like it's a fucking crazy thing to watch. Yeah, man. So shout out to Gear. I mean, like I said, we'll be seeing him down the line. Now this fight, I had a lot of fun watching this one. Grant Dawson fought Mark Madsen, and Grant Dawson coming into this, I mean, shit, head full of steam. Just, I don't even know what his win streak was, but he was just taking out people left and right. Amazing wrestler as well. Taking out Mark Madsen, who I picked Mark Madsen just because I thought Mark Madsen is such another high-level grappler. A lot of grapplers in this one. But Mark Madsen, high-level grappler, just gave me enough leading into this to think that he might be able to give Grant Dawson a couple problems on the ground, maybe, or at the very least be able to get up if he was held down and they were taken down. And Mark Madsen also, like, has plenty of power on the feet as well. But shit, Grant Dawson was not going to be denied. Grant Dawson has the dog in him. The pitbull meme, we might have to put a picture. He had the pitbull meme, that he got that dog in him. But yeah, he got that dog in him because shit. Tiring fight, grueling fight, comes into the third round. Going into the third round, yeah, not even like grappling aside, third round, tired, standing in front of each other. Grant Dawson was chewing up Mark Madsen's leg to the point where eventually, I mean, he landed so many that, dropped him with the leg kick. And then from there, ultimately, got on top of him. I think Mark Madsen was just checked out. I think he just had enough, which is crazy because Mark Madsen is not, I mean, I thought he had that dog in him, but Grant Dawson showed that he got the bigger dog in him, and he ultimately got a rear naked choke, and got the win. And then I had the most like fucking beautiful post speech. Gave DC his flowers, saying that he looks up to him, that he just he wants to be like him, and that he appreciates him, and DC, you could tell he was loving it. It was a beautiful thing to see. Man, it called out Tony Ferguson too at the end to say like he stated that he's the new top 15. He's number 15 ranked Even though everyone was saying if he gets this win, he has to get into the top 15 because he wasn't ranked before this. But he basically made the claim himself. He's like, I'm 15 now, and he's coming for Tony Ferguson's 14 spot. And I thought it was a cool call out. And I like it. And I think that this one's gonna stick because it had a lot of good energy about it. I mean, it was just too good not to make. Now it was like, because what else are you gonna do with Tony Ferguson? You're gonna put him against Conor McGregor? No one wants to see that. And I mean, anyone that really knows me knows I'm a huge Tony Ferguson fan. But I hate to admit this, but I just think that Tony Ferguson is just, especially coming off that Nate Diaz fight, just is looking a little older. I really think that Justin Gaethje fight did something to him, which is really sad, man. I hate to even be saying this stuff. Shout out Tony Ferguson. I fucking love that guy. But doesn't change my thought about it. I still know Tony Ferguson is one of the most mentally tough human beings in the planet Earth. David Goggins-esque. But Grant Dawson, man, he just looks so good. And to call out Tony Ferguson was a cool call out. He did it in such a unique way, and he had a great post-fight interview. And I think the UFC might give him what he wants. So, shit. He did miss weight coming into this, but he made it a point to promise in such a sincere way that he would never miss weight again. And we'll see if he holds true to that. We had other people some other prospects riddled throughout the prelims of this. Miranda Maverick got it done against Shayna Young, another by third round TKO. Miranda Maverick coming off a loss. So this was a big win for her. You know what? I could be wrong about that. I think Miranda Maverick might have redeemed herself with a win. You don't have to look it up, but it's not that serious. But so she might have gotten a win before this. But she did come off a big loss to another big prospect, Erin Blanchfield, who we're going to talk about too soon because she's on the UFC 281 card. But shout out Miranda Maverick for getting back in the win column or staying in the win column, whatever it may be. Shout out Polyana Viana getting a win. Beautiful, just beautiful striking. A beautiful girl, by the way. Polyana Viana, Carrie, for yourself. I mean, give her a goog. She's hot. No, for real though, she's fucking sexy. But yeah, shout out her for getting that win too. And honorable mention with Jake Hadley. Jake Hadley, first fight in the UFC debut, gets it done with a triangle choke. I mean, this kid, young prospect out of the UK. I mean, what's more fun than a fucking prospect out of the UK? And when they deliver, it's nothing better. I mean, UK, man, I need to get my ass over to England for the next London card or any UK card. I don't care. I just need to get my ass over there and catch a fight because I love the energy that's coming out of the UK. Shout out all my UK, not my UK, shout out all the UK fans as well. When I was doing this podcast before the first time, there's a lot of UK fans / account holders on Instagram that just do a great job at with their posts. Like they're very detailed in their captions about a fight, about a fighter. They're just true fan. I just love everything about the UK and the fight world out there. I mean, even their boxing runs heavy. They're fighters. They're fight fans and they produce some badass fighters. So once again, shout out the UK. Yeah, no, I think it's time now. I think it's time to move into the UFC 281. Pull up that card, please. Once again, UFC 281, Madison Square Garden, the yearly Madison Square Garden card. Shit, like I said, I'm going to have to get my ass there. I think I'm going to have to make this happen somehow by any means because, man, there's nothing like it. Nothing like it. And there is some value, like I said earlier. There is some value on this card as far as underdogs go. I mean, we're gonna get into that right now. The one I'm not really confident about picking or saying yet is the main event, the Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira. So I feel Israel Adesanya has so much experience in mixed martial arts at this point. Alex Pereira is kind of new to MMA. We all know their history, or the ones that know their history. I'll just, go over it again. They have 2 prior fights to this in kickboxing, not MMA, kickboxing. So different rule set, all standing, no grappling. And so in the past 2 fights, the first fight, Israel Adesanya, apparently, I still haven't watched the full fight, but we've heard it a million times now. Israel Adesanya apparently was winning the fight was winning the fight, and apparently got a decision that he felt he won. Alex Pereira got the win in a very close decision, apparently. Second fight comes around, Israel Adesanya is winning the fight pretty handily all the way up into the end, where Alex Pereira eventually catches him with his nasty signature left hook and knocks out Israel Adesanya cold. And so going into this, we had 2 kickboxing fights between them. Both fights, Alex Pereira got the W. And here we are, MMA. Alex Pereira comes into the UFC, steps into the UFC like, 1 year ago? And everyone's like, oh, shit, okay. The guy that beat Izzy's here. The guy that beat the champ is here. So let's see what he does. And what does he do? Knocks everybody out on the way. All 3 of his fights leading up. All knockouts. Last one to Sean Strickland. Signature left hook. Just fucking knocked Sean Strickland silly. And here we are. The fucking title fight between these 2. Headlining Madison Square Garden. 2 of the most dangerous kickboxers of all time. I mean, this is just... shit, I just can't make a pick on this. I not yet. If you look at the gambling odds about it, Alex Pereira, the slight underdog at plus 140, Israel Adesanya favorite at minus 165. Yeah, honestly, I don't like this one in a gambling sense because, I mean, the UFC, it's fucking crazy. We've seen time and time over and over again where, something happens that no one was expecting. I mean, so part of me, do I think that Israel Adesanya could get knocked out again? Yes. I mean, easily. But I also see that Israel Adesanya has, paid his dues in MMA and has, has been battle tested with some of the best of them that the UFC has to offer in the middleweight division. So experience wise and just, all around MMA wise, I just have to give the edge to Israel Adesanya. But what I'm saying is that when it comes, Izzy is, have we ever known Izzy to ever shoot for a takedown or use his jiu-jitsu when it's not defensive? No. So I see it being a stand-up fight. It's going to become a kickboxing fight. It's just going to become another kickboxing fight. And I could see so many different outcomes to this. I could see Izzy just has so much more experience now, so to where maybe he holds his own better than ever on the feet. Like I said, in the past fights, he apparently was winning in both of those fights. Apparently he was beating Alex in both fights, and he lost them both. One by a close decision, another one by knockout. So it's such a weird fight to analyze. But so can I see Alex getting the knockout? Of course. Can I see Izzy just being the veteran, the more experienced MMA fighter, and just new and improved from their last time? Absolutely. And I could see Izzy inching out a decision win, or maybe not even inching it out, maybe just handling his own on the feet and just getting a easy decision win. Who knows? Maybe Izzy could get a knockout. Maybe Alex brings the dog out of Izzy and forces him back into his old ways of just getting aggressive and going for the kill. Izzy, leading up to this in his past few fights, has been a little bit more defensive, kind of he's almost falling into the Floyd Mayweather linear to Floyd's career, where Floyd started out an aggressive, knocking people out, and then eventually just changed his style to be a little more defensive, able to hold on to his belts and just get paid for just easily beating fighters without having to throw much risk out there. And that could also be a good reason why Izzy also wins, just because he's just so good at that now. And he does what he needs to get the win. But I think Alex is going to bring the fight out of him in this one, and I think we're going to see fucking fireworks on the feet on this one. And once again, I mean, if I have to make a pick right now in this present moment, and I mean, if you're paying attention to my Instagram or Twitter, whatever, at His and Hers MMA, I might subject to change on this pick, but God, on the spot, I think fuck. Izzy has never let me down in UFC when it comes to betting. And I'm the one time I bet against him, I was right, and that was against Jan Blachowicz, and that was at a higher weight class. Izzy went up to light heavyweight to try to become a double champ, and I just kind of had a feeling that Jan was a little bit too big for him. Jan has great grappling, great wrestling, and that's exactly what happened. He was able to hold him down long enough to get a decision win. And but other than that, middleweight, Izzy has given me no reason to pick against him. I'm sticking with Israel Adesanya in this one. Minus 165. It's probably the best odds you're going to get on him in any matchup. So, yeah, Israel Adesanya. That's my pick. And I have a feeling I'm going to stick with that. But, man, do I like Alex. Man, do I like him. He's so fun to watch. But, yeah, that'll be fun. And in the co-main event, this one we got Carla Esparza taking on Zhang Weili. Remember me. So let's talk some bets in this one, because now I'm not going to go down the card and just like break each one down, but I just got my notes here. So yeah, Weili is a big favorite, minus 340. She's one of my picks for, my comfortable picks. I mean, granted, she's a minus 340, not much value there for your dollar, but I do like parlaying her with a few people. I just can't see Weili losing this one. Carla Esparza has become the champ as of recent against Rose Namajunas, and which I don't even want to get into those fights, but I mean, I don't know what was up with Rose in the last one. Once again, just another example like the Marina Rodriguez, a little too careful. I mean, a little too conscious of the takedown. And ultimately Rose lost the belt to Carla. Carla has been getting it done with her grappling. She's a very good wrestler. I mean, I got to give it to her. I mean, she's an amazing wrestler nonetheless, but Weili is also an amazing grappler, and yeah, I just think Weili's stronger. I think she's handily the better striker, and I just think she's too strong. She's too well-rounded, and I just think I cannot see a way that Weili loses this fight. And if she does, I'll never doubt Carla again, because goddamn, I mean, but I can't see it happening. I do have Weili to win this one. And so this will be my first parlay so in the prelims of this fight, Andre Petrovsky, can you pull up the prelims, please? Scroll down. Stop. Andre Petrovsky is taking on Wellington Turman. Andre Petrovsky is a favorite at minus 205. Now, that's very good odds for Andre Petrovsky. 3-0 in the UFC, and has looked amazing in all of them. I think he's a Contender Series guy. Looked well in his Contender Series fight. I mean, just obviously got him the contract, and so yeah, that'll be my first parlay, is Andre Petrovsky and Zhang Weili together. Last time I checked, I have it here. It brings it up to minus 109 odds. That's basically even odds, and those are two fights that I feel very comfortable picking for a win, obviously. And yeah, so I mean, at minus 109 between two fighters, I mean, I like that personally. I didn't put my bets in yet, but I could see myself throwing, I don't gamble like I once did, so I do it for fun now. I play the small game. It's the way to go. I mean, no reason in fucking breaking the bank over some fights, but it's still fun to throw a little coin on it. So I will be throwing a little coin on that. and just know that for sure. I'll probably post later on my bet slips before the event, obviously. But that is definitely my first parlay. I'm very comfortable picking is Andre Petrosky with Zhang Weili for minus 109 odds. I feel like you can't go wrong with that. Another favorite on this card, a very slight favorite, is Matt Frivola. Early prelims. Yeah, you could, I think. Yeah, right there. Matt Frivola taking on Atman Azatar. I mean, Atman's a beast. This is going to be a great fight. Matt Frivola does not disappoint. He is super aggressive. Oh, it's showing minus 145 odds on the UFC. I just checked DraftKings this morning. I think it said minus 125. Now, this is a great matchup, but what I'm saying is for the for it to get almost even money, I like Matt Frivola a lot. So another thing I have here is like if you throw Matt Frivola in with Petrosky and Zhang Weili, you get plus 246. I think I'm probably going to throw a little small something on that too. Yeah, so Matt Frivola, I mean, I'm only bringing that up probably as like an add-on to that parlay. I mean, would I take him as a single bet? Yeah, I mean, sure, but I wouldn't throw a lot on it. But yeah, so Matt Frivola as an option to throw on to that 2-leg parlay to make it a 3-leg for plus 246 odds. I like that parlay. I like it a lot. Helps the odds on it more. It's very winnable. But yeah. So like I said earlier, this card is riddled with some great dogs, underdogs that is. We'll start from the bottom up. We got Julio Arce here. Scroll down. Julio Arce taking on Montel Jackson. Now, Montel Jackson, I mean, love Montel Jackson. Great fighter. But Julio Arce, I just feel like is such a well-rounded fighter and very experienced with plenty of UFC fights. Montel Jackson, not as many fights, not as many fights in the UFC, has some great wins. Also has 2 of his losses that came in the UFC. But so Montel Jackson, rightfully the favorite. I just think that they have him favored a little too high at minus 200. Julio Arce at plus 175 is my first pick as a dog. I mean, I like that. Probably throw a little coin on him as well. Maybe shit. All right, so he's my first dog. We'll start there at plus 175. I feel like that's a very valuable pick. The second dog, this is starting from the prelims going up. The second dog is Ryan Spann against who's taking on Dominic Reyes. Now Dominic Reyes, it's up more, but Dominic Reyes, here, yeah, go up. Let's see what it is, if they even have it right there. So right there, yeah. So Dominic Reyes, they're showing minus 215 favorite. Now, Dominic Reyes is coming off a knockout loss to Yuri Prochazka, that beautiful spinning back elbow. And then, before that, I mean, he put it this way. Dominic Reyes, I just think he's taking on Ryan Spann. Ryan Spann, kind of the younger, more like up-and-coming guy. I mean, tremendous power, humongous. I mean, both guys are really big, tall, solid fighters. But in this one, I just think they got Dominic Reyes as the minus 200 favorite. Ryan Spann coming in on DraftKings this morning. I checked plus 190. Dominic Reyes coming off 2 losses back-to-back and both knockout losses. And I just think that Dominic Reyes is getting a little chinny in his later years. I think the chin is starting to deteriorate. I mean, how much can one man take? He has been I mean, God bless him. He's a great fighter, and he's been taking on the best of the best. So it's not easy, but he unfortunately suffered a few knockouts, which, it's looking like more and more like his chin is deteriorating. I think Ryan Spann has a lot of power. I think at plus 190, I'll take my odds with Ryan Spann to be able to touch Dominic Reyes at some point and really hurt him. I mean, who knows? Dominic Reyes is coming off a pretty sizable layoff, so sometimes that helps fighters, just heal up and, maybe he changes something in the training room, doesn't spar as much, and maybe he has his wits about him and he's all there again. And he's the old Dominic Reyes, but either way, even if he was, Ryan Spann's a power enough guy to still put you out. So for these reasons, I like Ryan Spann at plus 190 odds. Definitely going to do a little something with that. Next one, I mean, shit. So this is my girl, Meatball Molly McCann, coming in at a plus 320 underdog. Now, she's taking on Erin Blanchfield. Erin Blanchfield is absolutely a dark horse of the flyweight division and has given no reason to show that she will lose. She is so solid. She's a big girl. She is very strong. But Molly McCann, she has that dog factor. She has the dog in her. Little pit bull. Throw the X-ray up. Show the pit bulls inside her. She got that. And now, listen, it's a big ask for Molly McCann to upset Erin Blanchfield, but Molly McCann, as of late, just has some new energy about her. She is coming into her own. She is confident. She is happy with herself, and it's showing. She goes into every fight with the proper mental state that a fighter needs, and that's a big thing. She's been in the UFC a little longer than Erin Blanchfield has. She's been under big lights before. I mean, like I said, though, Erin Blanchfield, it's not like her lack of time in the UFC is going to be a big factor. I mean, she is given no reason to think she lacks any confidence. I mean, every fight she's in, she's stale-faced. She's solid as a rock. But Molly McCann, if you want just a fun fight, and I mean, God bless, if you throw a little something on Molly McCann and she gets to win, you're going to have a fun night. I mean, nothing better than betting on someone like that who's a big underdog, and if she's able to pull off that upset, that high alone is going to be worth, like, what? Fucking, I mean, what do you want to do? I mean, you could throw $10, $5. Either way, it's going to pay off decent, and it'll still be really fun to watch. I think either way, she's going to put up a fight, and that'll be worth it alone. But would I go crazy with that one? No. But Molly, as of late, has like I said, just has this new energy about her that either way, she's fun, and she's fun to watch. And if you throw a couple shekels her way, or throw a couple shekels on her, I think she'll give you the show you're looking for either way. You'll be happy with the win or loss. Just don't go breaking the bank on it. Now this one, I like this one. I will be taking this undoubtedly right there. Brad Riddell taking on Renato Moicano. Now Renato Moicano, another guy, new energy about him. Looks great as of late. Did take a short notice fight against RDA. Stepped in very, very short notice. What was it, like days or something? And unfortunately lost in a hard fought fight. Looked good, but just very you could tell he, in the fights before this leading up, he just looked so good. New frame, just looked shredded, strong as can be, and that definitely relate into the fights that he had where he was, just looked like a new and improved him. But took that short notice fight with RDA, did not have the same shredded body. I think it's because of his short notice. He had just fought like a week or two before that too. That's worth mentioning because after that fight, you could tell he kind of put on a couple pounds. I think he might have even went up a weight class to take that fight. Just didn't look like his new energized self. So he is coming off a loss to RDA. Did take a bit of a beating in that too. And Brad Riddell, who is my pick because for these reasons, coming in at a plus 105, pretty even, but still underdog. Brad Riddell coming off a loss to Rafael Fiziev. Rafael Fiziev is, I mean, they were just talking about him fighting Charles Oliveira. which Charles denied. He said he needs more time than that. But still, you see the trajectory that Rafael Fiziev is on. So taking a loss to Rafael Fiziev is not a big deal. I mean, that's Rafael Fiziev is looking like a fucking dark horse of his division and could very well be fighting for a belt real soon. Brad Riddell still held his own in that fight. Brad Riddell is a well-rounded fighter. He is a dog and a half. He delivers high-caliber fights. He's a powerful guy. He's a technical guy. Yeah, I mean, I could already tell you that he definitely, go back to the matchup stats. I think he's giving up a reach in this a little bit. Go down, reach, yeah. Wow, not even 1 inch reach, but 4-inch height difference. So Brad still has good reach for his size. Even more of a reason. I mean, even if he didn't have that reach, I would still feel the same. But Brad Riddell, man, this one I'm very high on. Brad Riddell is probably like my favorite underdog pick, technically, at coming in at plus 105. I like this one a lot. You could throw him into parlays. You can just take. I'm definitely gonna throw a single bet on him as well. I like this one a lot. I will definitely be throwing a couple shekels on that one. And yeah, Brad Riddell, big pick. I mean, shit. It's kind of crazy because Renato Moicano is very solid. So it's crazy that I'm even saying like I'm that confident going in. But that's how good Brad Riddell is. So shout out Brad Riddell, and I hope he gets that dub. Yeah, and we'll move on to the next dog, Claudio Puelles, coming in at plus 145 against Dan Hooker. Everybody loves Dan Hooker, man. It's so hard to pick against Dan Hooker because hey, dogs are messing with the fucking camera. Bronny, come here. Hold on, folks. Sorry, Bronson almost knocking over the camera and shit. Hold on. Come. All right. You want to say something? Oh, okay. What do you think about Dan Hooker? He says that Dan Hooker does, in fact, have that dog in him as well, but I think he's saying he doesn't know if he has enough dog in him. Okay, all right, hold on. Anyway, Dan Hooker, so hard to pick against him. I mean, this is tough because Claudio is high level. He's a high level guy. Young prospect. Yeah, let's see. What's from fighting out of Peru. Dan Hooker obviously fighting out of New Zealand. But Dan Hooker, as of late, has fallen. He's on a little bit of the decline lately. He's coming off a loss. Click Dan Hooker. Click him. Yep. And then scroll all the way down. Coming off a loss to Arnold Allen was his last fight. Go down more. Bronny, chill. Scroll down. All right, so he's coming off a loss to Arnold Allen, TKO win. Arnold Allen right now just coming off a win of his own to drawing a blank, Calvin Cater, sorry. Just last week. And then before that, took a short notice fight against Islam Makhachev, the new champ. Obviously lost that one, first round submission. Before that, looked good against Nasrat Hapsarat. Nasrat, yeah. You know, we call him Baby Kelvin because he looks like Kelvin Gastelum. Keep going down and then load more. But then everyone thought Dan Hooker was back with that win. But before that, knockout loss to Chandler. Decision loss to Poirier, and so on. But so Dan Hooker, I mean, everyone loves Dan Hooker. God bless him. But this is a big ask for him to be fighting Claudio. And Claudio coming in at a plus 145 dog. It's hard for me not to take Claudio. Now, that's going to be a good fight. I think that's going to be a fun fight. And I know it's going to be a fun fight, but I just have to take Claudio at plus 145. It's so hard not to. He's so good. He's looked amazing leading up. He's like that new caliber fighter where he just has it all. He's well-rounded. He could submit you. He can knock you out. Dan Hooker, I mean, very much well versed as well. Also has all the skills, but I just think that Claudio is the fresher, newer. I probably give him a speed advantage. What's the size? What's their size looking like? Oh, Dan Hooker, a few inches taller. Oh, and a few inches reach. Oh, interesting. Because Claudio's usually a tall, lean fighter when he matches up, but obviously Dan Hooker is a freak lightweight. Still doesn't change my mind. I like Claudio plus 145 odds. And that takes me to my last dog that has a lot of value in him. Now, this might be questionable because, there's a lot of fanboys out there, but scroll up a little bit more. Right there, Dustin Poirier taking on Michael Chandler. Now, Michael Chandler's coming in at plus 150 as a dog, and Michael Chandler, since he has gotten in the UFC, has given no reason to think that he's not going to give it his all. He's coming in here. He said it himself. He's not here for a long time. He's here for a good time. And let me tell you, his fights are showing that to be a true fact, because this guy comes in like a fucking bat out of hell, and like I just mentioned before, knocked out Dan Hooker in his debut. I mean, almost knocked out the ex-champ, Charles Oliveira. Had a fucthat legendary fight of the night against Justin Gaethje, which I think that might have been in the Madison Square Garden card as well. I could be wrong about that. I think it was though. Click Michael Chandler for me real quick. We're gonna wrap this up soon, folks. But I'm trying to get these bets out. Yeah, scroll down. Right. Yeah, November 6th, Justin Gaethje took on Michael Chandler. That's definitely the MSG card. I mean, so shit, that goes to show you that fight happened on MSG. I couldn't imagine. It's sad I wasn't there for that one because I could only imagine what that was like live. But yeah, once again, Michael Chandler back at MSG, this time taking on Dustin Poirier. I mean, I can't see the fight going much different than that time. Poirier, as of late, not really sure how I feel, because he says himself that he's not sure how he feels about where he's at with his fight career. He's like on the edge of retiring, or he's on the edge of coming back and wanting to make a title run. I don't know which one, but when someone questions it that much, I just wonder where they're at with it. Michael Chandler, usually a shorter fighter, coming at 1 inch shorter than Poirier. Reach virtually identical, 72 to 71.5. Yeah, so listen, this is all I'm saying. At plus 150 for Chandler, I like Chandler. And yeah, I mean, shit, it's hard to pick, but I just feel like as of lately, I think Dustin Poirier is questioning himself a little bit where he's at with his career. I think Michael Chandler knows exactly what he wants and what he's doing. I just think the confidence factor lies with Chandler. I think that Chandler is going to come in aggressive, and man, I could see a number of things happening. It's going to be a war, and I just think at plus 150, Chandler might be worth a little shekel or two over there. I will be posting my bet slips when I put them in. I'll probably put them in today. Feel free to check them out at His and Hers MMA, Instagram and Twitter. Feel free to backpack off any of my bets. I did pretty good in the last week for picks. My only one I had wrong was the Marina Rodriguez, but like I said, I mean, I would have thought she would have came a lot more aggressive than she did. Instead, she seemed like a little standoffish with Amanda, and Amanda was the aggressor. So it was just a matter of who wanted it more. But everything else looked pretty good as far as my picks. I mean, that's still posted on Instagram. Feel free to check that out as well. And yeah, stay tuned, man. I'm happy to be back. This feels good. I'm excited. Got my boy with me. We got my dogs in the room. Got my dogs for the picks. I mean, there's just dogs everywhere, man. We just all dogs out here. But yeah. So thank you for tuning in. If you are, stay tuned. Can't wait to see how these fights go this weekend. UFC 281, MSG, New York City. Good chance I might be there. If not, I'll be getting wasted with the boys, watching it from home, having a good old time. So yeah, tune in, stay tuned. Love y'all. Till next week. Peace.